and district staff. The time is now 6 p.m. on this 18th day of February 2020. And I call this meeting of the Edgewood Independent School District Board to order. I will call the roll. Vice President Frank Espinosa.
Present.
Secretary Stella Camacho.
Here.
Board Member Timothy Payne.
Present.
Board Member Marta Castilla. Board Member Joseph Guerra.
Present.
Board Member James Hernandez.
Present.
Board President Roy Soto. I'm here as well. Let the record show that a quorum of the Edgewood Independent School District Board is present, and that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Ms. Kayla Calderon Lugo, you have the floor.
Good evening, Board President Soto, members of our school board, Dr. Hernandez, staff, and community. Thank you for being here tonight. Tonight, we'd like to welcome everybody to our board meeting this evening, and I want to start off first by thanking the Bethel United Methodist Church Choir who has joined us tonight. We will meet them a little bit more later on, but thank you for being here. Let's give them another round of applause for the beautiful music tonight. So to start the meeting, I would like to have our students from Lyndon B. Johnson Elementary School to please come forward as they will recite the U.S. and the Texas Pledge of Allegiance. The principal for Lyndon B. Johnson Elementary School is Ms. Ellie Gearhart, who will introduce our students.
Dr. Hernandez, School Board President Soto, and members of the school board, I am proud to introduce two of my outstanding Bobcats, Gavin Trevino and Miguel Mendoza, who will lead us in the pledge.
And as they make their round, let's give them another big round of applause. I always say this is a very intimidating room, and so for them to stand up here and recite the pledge in front of such a large audience, they deserve another big round. So good job, students. Thank you. And now we're going to start tonight's board meeting by featuring and recognizing our leaders of the pack. Our leaders of the pack are students and staff in Edgewood ISD who are nominated by their peers and who exemplify our district's mantra: professionalism, accountability, and communication. These are individuals who definitely make Edgewood proud. Our first leader of the pack, we're going to ask him to please come forward once again because you've already met him tonight. He is Miguel Mendoza from Lyndon B. Johnson Elementary School. If we can please have Miguel come back. So Miguel was very committed to a cause that was near and dear to his heart. So he took action without thinking twice, all for the love of a family member. His actions even caught the attention of other individuals who donated to Miguel's cause that we will soon hear about. Miguel's thoughtfulness and motivation has led him to be this month's Student Leader of the Pack. Let's give Miguel a big round of applause. Congratulations, Miguel. LBJ should be very proud. And while Miguel makes his round, we are now going to recognize our second leader of the pack. Thank you very much, Miguel. and that is Miss Rosemary Avila, who unfortunately was unable to attend this evening, but Miss Avila is the secretary at the Brentwood STEAM School of Innovation. She was unable to attend, but we do want to say that we have the principal of the campus, Miss Eva Reyna, here tonight to receive the certificate on her behalf. One of the reasons Miss Avila was nominated, according to the person who nominated her, was, despite the circumstances, whether she is under pressure or striving to get daily tasks done, she consistently shows up and achieves the goals at hand. Ms. Avila provides exceptional customer service to parents, students, staff, and community members. She is always ready to serve in all capacities and always does so with a smile. We will soon learn more about Ms. Avila, but in the meantime, congratulations to her and thank you, Ms. Reyna. And now I would like to ask our third leader of the pack to please come forward, Ms. Nicole Esparza, CTE Specialist. So a few words to describe Ms. Esparza are, this staff member who nominated her wrote, "I am so appreciative and grateful to have her as a resource who is always readily available when I need her. I cannot say enough about how supportive and patient Nicole Esparza has been in preparing for my role as a new teacher in Edgewood ISD. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, these three individuals were nominated as this month's Leaders of the Pack. Let's give them a big round of applause. And now we hope you enjoy the Leader of the Pack video.
Hi, my name is Rosemary Avila. I am a secretary at Brentwood Middle School. I have been working for Edgewood for about 14 years now. I love working for Edgewood. I actually came to Edgewood Elementary, Middle School, and High School, so I am a product of Edgewood. I love working with my coworkers. Just the environment is fun, exciting, and interesting, always something different. I was happy and excited that someone acknowledges my hard work and my dedication. I do work hard and I do my best in helping everyone. I'm a very calm person, a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of patience to work with parents, students, and employees. I'm happy to help them.
My name's Miguel. My grade is 5th grade and I go to LBJ Elementary. I heard my school was raising money for leukemia cancer, so I wanted to help to save patients' lives. My parents took me to Traders Village and I was holding a sign that says, "Do you want to donate to cancer awareness?" And then I had a box where they had to donate the money. They asked me if I wanted to go up on stage, and they gave me a shout out in front of the crowd, and then a lot of people donated. I raised $411. My classmates were happy because they knew I raised that much money for people that have cancer. It made me feel good and nice because I was just saving people. Thank you for the people that donated to help me raise this money because you're saving people's lives.
My name is Nicole Esparza, and I am the CTE Specialist, Career and Technical Education here in the district, and I've been with Edgewood ISD for 3 years now. With my position, every day looks actually very different, which I really enjoy. Some days you could see me in the classroom providing walks and giving feedback to teachers, or on campuses during conference periods supporting teachers in planning, or it could be simply being on campuses supporting counselors with scheduling. I could also be on a field trip with kiddos, so I really get to kind of touch all the different people within our organization. One thing I love about my job, I love interacting with people. I work really hard And my main goal is for teachers to really feel that ultimate support and have someone to reach out to so that they're their best for our kids. And so it makes me very happy that my efforts are really touching our teachers and enough so to recognize me. So that's wonderful.
Once again, a big congratulations to all of our leaders of the PAC. As we continue with our meeting this evening, I want to also introduce somebody who is joining us tonight from Bethel United Methodist Church. We heard the choir sing earlier, and so they have joined us tonight as part of the recognition of Black History Month. One of the many ways we celebrate our cultures, we celebrate our history, is through music. And tonight we have the gift of music at our meeting. So thank you to the choir that has joined us, and I want to ask Miss Monica Moore, choir director, to please come forward.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting us, Mr. Garcia. This is an esteemed pleasure that we have of being a part of the Edgewood ISD community. We are Bethel United Methodist Church, and we are at 227 South Acme. I am the music director, and Johnny Toy is our pastor, who is in the rear. If you would please stand, Pastor. Most recently, we have participated in some city activities, one of them being the Miss Black San Antonio pageant. And we like to think of ourselves as Ageless Praise, hashtag Ageless Praise. Because if you see even the members of my choir that were represented here, they're not young, but we do praise God anytime that we're given an opportunity to lift his name. And like I said, thank you so much for having us here tonight at your meeting. Bless you.
And the lessons regarding Black History Month don't just stop with tonight's music. There is also learning taking place within our classrooms here in Edgewood ISD. So tonight, I'm very proud to introduce Mr. Brian Monette, a history teacher at E.T. Rand Middle School, who will share what our students are learning. And we are also going to have two of our students, Miss Serenity McNeil and Destiny Williams, present something to everybody tonight. So, Mr. Monette.
Good evening. Definitely good evening, school board president, members of the school board, Superintendent Dr. Hernandez, staff, and community members. For Black History Month, E.T. Rand showed its commitment to and dedication to inclusion by encouraging teachers, such as myself, to collaborate in a multitude of areas to foster a well-rounded educational experience for our students. And before I go any further, I definitely want to introduce myself. My name is Brian Monette. I am the 8th grade U.S. history teacher at E.T. Rand, and it's definitely a pleasure to be with you guys. As a history teacher, I've had the opportunity to collaborate with both English language arts, art, the classical art department, and theater arts to focus on areas of Black history that would encompass a wide girth of disciplines. In history, students would research prominent figures in Black history whose contributions were wide-reaching, with an emphasis on how they told their story and struggles utilizing poetry and musical art. They would then go to their English language arts class, where they would take those elements and utilize them by writing a personal narrative from the perspective of those prominent African Americans, and utilize their inspiration to construct their own poetry or lyric, utilizing their personal experiences. We wanted to encourage our students to contemplate how one day their story would be told. Lastly, they would go to their art class, where they would create posters featuring what they've learned in history, English language arts, for display throughout the school. Furthermore, through a collaborative activity with their arts, audio, and visual technology communications course, students would display via an iMovie showcase what they've learned throughout those courses. That would be featured in our Black History program on February 28th. At ET-REN, we also partnered with some community organizations such as Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, which is a historical Black Greek-lettered organization, through their Iota Youth Alliance, which is a student-led organization, to prepare a step routine that would also be performed at the Black History program. We felt that it was important for students to see participate in an activity that has its roots in African culture as well as Caribbean culture. So I definitely want to thank you guys for your time. We're going to next have our 7th grade student, Serenity McNeil, who would recite The Caged Bird by Maya Angelou, followed by our 8th grade student, Destiny Williams, who will also recite Lift Every Voice and Sing by James Johnson. Thank you guys.
I'm Serenity McNeil, and I'm going to be reading Caged Bird by Maya Angelou. A freed bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The freed bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn. He names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom.
My name is Destiny Williams, and I'm going to be reading a part of Lift Every Voice and Sing by James Bolton Johnson. Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring with harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of faith that the dark path has taught us. Sing a song full of faith that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Once again, if we can please give a big round of applause to the choir that joined us today, our students from ET-REN Middle School, Mr. Monette. I definitely think these are individuals that are making Edgewood proud, along with our leaders of the pack. Thank you all very much for being here. Have a good night. Dr. Hernandez.
Board members, we're going to move to agenda item 2, which is communication from citizens. Comments shall be limited to current board agenda items. The speaker has 3 minutes and will be informed when he or she has 1 minute remaining. Board members, this evening we have Ms. Susan Salinas that has asked to address the board regarding agenda item 5B and 6B. Thank you, Ms. Salinas, for being here.
Give me a problem.
Well, it seems my speech doesn't want to load because I closed the
the iPad. So I'm going to go off the top. Yeah, there it is. Thank you. So good evening, Mr. Soto, members of the board, Dr. Hernandez. I'm Susan Salinas with the Texas State Teachers Association, and I'm here tonight to talk about the impact of district campus program changes and the partnership agreements on students and teachers. The programs and partnership presented by administration sound wonderful, but the concern is in the details. With every campus at some point being a charter campus by program or partner, the ripple effect of moving students and teachers will hit home hard. The parents and community might not see the impact now, but as the programs continue, there are concerns. When neighborhood elementary schools are just girl campus or pre-K through second or third through 5, then the children might not be going to their neighborhood school. They will have to be bused or find a way to another neighborhood school. Brothers and sisters might be at 2 different campuses. This can be a hardship on the household. Does Edgewood have enough buses? The notice to parents about the changes should be more frequent and in many different venues. On campus website, there is a parent feedback form, but this should not be the main form of communication to the parents. Having a meeting with a few parents is not sufficient either. When the parents really see the impact of sending their kids to several different campuses, there will be pushback. Parents might decide, I'm going to go to a private school. I'm going to go to a different district where my kids can go where I live. Let's look at how teachers are being treated and the impact on retention of experienced teachers. When a new program is being introduced for pre-K for SA or the ACE program that's being introduced tonight with 3 different campuses, teachers are told they must reapply to be at that campus, and they're not guaranteed a job. The teachers can go to the transfer fair, but they're left in limbo. At one campus, experienced teachers on continuing contracts and term contracts who have many years with proficient and accomplished evaluations were told, you're not wanted here. You need to transfer. How would you feel if your supervisor told you this when you had no history of a problem at your campus with your work? On a regular basis, teachers are being asked, what do we do? Are we going to be fired? Do we have a job? And on a regular basis is yes. If they don't transfer you, you will be riffed. You will be a reduction in force. And in a November board meeting, y'all changed your reduction in force policy. It used to say that you looked at certifications and appraisals. Now it's only certification. That means if I'm a probationary teacher and I don't have my certification, I can be held and kept over a continuing and term contract teacher who have certification. That is not right. It's alarming. The district can do a program change without making teachers the clock.
That's okay.
Please, we really consider looking at the program. All right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am. We appreciate you being here. Board members, we will continue with agenda item number 4. Dr. Eduardo Hernandez will address this agenda item, and he will continue with agenda item number 5. Dr. Hernandez, you have the floor.
Guys, if we can bring up the superintendent's report. All right, welcome everybody this evening to our February school board meeting. I hope you have enjoyed as much as I have the festivities this evening. These meetings are about people. I'll reiterate that because they've always been about people since I came as the superintendent. Board meetings are specifically to highlight the young men and women that you see here. So I don't want to lose light of the fact that that is the purpose of the meeting and that, in fact, the decisions we make are for the betterment of our students. So I want to go ahead and start with that. As I always do, I always remind our faculty, our community that's here, that we have 5 board superintendent goals that drive every action that we have in this district. The first one being focused on student success. So that's the young men and women you see here. You're about to hear about some of our very unique programming in the district around our different student groups. So again, goal 1 is the focus for us. And the bottom line is that we are here for student achievement, whatever that means. And I am very clear about that. And as a superintendent, I stand behind that publicly, privately, wherever I go. That's extremely important to me. And that is always going to be the direction that this district goes. Goal 2 is about focus on student families and community. Goal 3 is focus on operational excellence, making sure that we are responsible for the finances of the district. Of course, Goal 4 is focusing on our employee and organizational improvements because, quite frankly, the number one learners in the district are the adults. If the adults continue to learn, the adults continue to expand their thinking, then students benefit in the classroom. Because a better educated adult is a better educated student in our school district. And then, of course, Goal 5 is focus on financial stewardship. And this means being responsible for the dollars that you give us. And so everywhere we go, that's what I talk about, the money that we use in our schools. And so those are our 5 board superintendent goals that we follow. So let's start talking about those this evening. Goal 1 is focus on student success. Again, as I've said before, everything that we do in this district revolves around making school better for our kids. And that's why the young men and women that you see here were invited tonight, because there's a lot of great things going on in Edgewood ISD. The first one, I want to bring up our members of the Edgewood Fine Arts Academy. I'm gonna first ask 2 of our members to come up, Nathan Elias and Araceli Salas, if you will please come forward. And they're actually going to demonstrate for us one of the songs that they actually put forward. I want you to look at the pictures. Those are our kids. Those are costumes, makeup. Those are that's scenery that the kids build in class, after school. And when I tell you these young men and women are here at all hours, I mean it. They're here at all hours, all weekend, with their teacher, Ms. Castro, and all the work that they do. So I want you to look at the detail of their costumes. And I got to see this performance just the other day. And I will tell you that I was blown away. 7 of our kids are nationally ranked and were recognized for the work that they do. I want you to think about that, not locally, not regionally, nationally. Our programs produced a student who's sitting at Yale right now, one of the Ivy League schools. And so this is something that we want to celebrate because the fact is, again, students come first. Their education comes first. So Nathan and Araceli, if you will please move forward with your song. So can we get the rest of the theater acting company to come up as well, please? So it takes a lot of guts to get up here in front of this many people and do that. So I do appreciate both of them. And can the rest of our theater acting company kids come up? So members of the audience, these are all young men and women who performed last week. And I want to make one special emphasis. These are not just the actors that you see in front. When you put a production, that takes the whole team. It takes the young men and women also in the back who are helping run the lights and everything else. So I say that to you as a former theater kid myself. So I do want to say thank you guys for all the work that you're doing. And let's give this whole group one more round of applause because they deserve it. Yes, we're going down there, guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our next group of students. Our next group of students that I'd like to ask to come forward are Edgewood ISD Toltec senior team, who was advancing to the region. I think I mentioned this last month. Our senior team is moving to a regional tournament, and so if you're here, would you please come to the front so that we can recognize you too? And let's bring your principal up too, because I know I saw Mr. Peña, and your sponsors if they're here too. Mr. Peña, I know I see you here. Oh, there you go. So again, this group is moving on to regionals, and again, I think that's a major accomplishment. There's a lot of hours that goes into this work, so let's give them a round of applause, take a picture, and then get them up here. Thank you. As we continue forward with recognizing our students, let me ask the students, oh, I'm sorry, I left one piece of information out. So our students are going to be competing, oh, for the next group, sorry. Dr. H has got a lot of notes up here. So let's go ahead and ask our Business Professionals of America to go ahead and come up also. This is a member, where are you at, guys? The BPA groups, come on up, guys. Come on up. No, don't be shy. This is for you. So let's give them a round of applause as they come up. This group competed here recently at Southwest High School and will now be moving on to the Business Professional Association state competition that's going to be in Dallas, Texas on March 4th through the 7th. So they've also moved on to regional competition in their area. And so we want to congratulate them and recognize them this evening, as well as any sponsors that may be here. So again, One more round of applause and we'll shake hands with them, and thank you guys. Thank you for the dedication, because I know it takes time. Thank you, Ms. Ray. Proud Prince, proud Prince.
They're all awesome. All awesome.
So the next group, and I think if Ms. Rain, are you still here? So Ms. Brain, our proud principal of Brentwood STEAM School of Innovation, our students that are in this picture are not here, but I didn't want to lose sight of the fact that our innovation programming that we are avidly marketing and talking about throughout not just Edgewood but the city of San Antonio is starting to show the fruits of the work that we're doing. Recently, the Brentwood STEAM Explorers were the first students across the city to have a hands-on cybersecurity training at the new Security Operations Center exhibit at SAMSAT, and that's located inside of Port San Antonio. So that is one of the partners that our middle school is working with. And so I want you to think about this group is helping prepare the next generation of cyber and IT innovators. And so it was great that our sixth graders, that's our first group that are going through, were actually invited there. If you see there, they wear their little black blazers with their patchwork and everything. But the fact that they were there actually going through a live simulation was actually a really big deal for our schools. And so it was great that the Edgewood Navy's out there. And I wanted to speak to that this evening so that you guys would know what's going on. You heard me talk about STEAM. We also recently had STEAM Innovation Night in all of our schools, and these are just some of the pictures of our students participating in STEAM activities, as well as their parents. You can see a parent there in the pictures, but STEAM is a big deal in our district. We're going to keep promoting it and pursuing it. And if you don't know what STEAM stands for, it's for science, technology, engineering, and arts. Arts are extremely important in mathematics. And so this is something we intend to keep developing on in our schools and developing an actual 13-year pipeline that starts in pre-K and then ends at the senior year. So that's our goal for our innovation planning in the district. And so as we move on to the next goal, the next group that I want to ask to come up is our veterans group. So if you're here with our veterans group, would you please come up to the front as well this evening? And let's give them a round of applause as they come up. I'm sure you've heard us talk many, many, many times of the work that the Edgewood District veterans do for our district. I don't know if we could ever repay the hours, the time, just the support that they give us both verbally and in other ways too, financially, that they provide for our district. So we wanted to invite them to thank them because here recently our district veterans provided 2,500 free tickets for the All-American Bowl and the San Antonio Sports High School All-Star Football Games. That game was on January the 4th, 2020 at the Alamo Dome. And in fact, one of our members, Mr. Joe Bray, was very instrumental in obtaining these tickets for the Edgewood District veterans. And so we want to thank them for that contribution and again, highlight them and give them another round of applause for all of their work.
Oh, Edgewood High School? Oh, I couldn't go there. It wasn't a choice. There you go.
Candy.
And as we continue, every contribution matters in our district, and we also want to make sure and highlight folks that help with our needs at our campuses too. Mr. Jesse Lopez, if you're in the audience, would you please come forward, Mr. Lopez? We are highlighting Mr. Lopez this evening because he took it upon himself to donate a Texas and U.S. flag, new ones, to Roy Cisneros Elementary. And so again, every contribution matters in our district, and we wanted to take a moment to highlight him and thank him. So join me in giving him an applause for his contributions to our school. Sorry. And there's the picture. The next item that I want to talk about is Goal 4, Employee and Organizational Improvement. So here recently, we had an opportunity to host an evening event for our teachers in our school district with regards to our innovation programming around our ACE programming. I know you heard a little bit about that earlier this evening. But our intention with this program is to make sure that our children have access to the best high-quality teachers that there are. And so as the superintendent, that is my purpose, my goal, my why. I want the same kind of teacher that I would want for my own daughter in front of her classroom when she was in our public school system, in our schools too. And I always remind folks, we have to recruit the best teachers because our kids, you know, when I go to superintendent meetings, I tell superintendents, my kids are just as smart as yours. My job is to create access and opportunity for them, and I don't apologize for that. And so I say that publicly because I mean that. And so we had an event here recently, and we had a great turnout of folks, as you can see. And so as educators, we have to start thinking differently about how we go out and we search for folks. And so we actually held this event in a venue that was a little different than we normally would because we wanted our teachers to feel special about coming and about looking and making sure they came in and were better informed about the program that we are actually advocating for them, and that they actually do their research before they say, yes, I want to come and join the ACE programming. So we had a great turnout, and we did not just have teachers in Edgewood. We had teachers from all the way out in New Braunfels and in other school districts that came in and explored the options that we have. So I commend them for coming out, and I wanted to take the opportunity to highlight that tonight as well. And Mr. Soto, that brings the superintendent's report to an end.
Thank you, sir. Board members, we're going to move on to agenda item 6, which is the consent agenda. Board members, all items may be acted upon. Board members, the superintendent is going to present another item.
So we have the first item, board members, that we're bringing to our community. If you recall, board members, we had this presentation at your study session. Thank you, board members, for continuing to work with us in our study sessions. Members of our community, if you didn't know this, our board does participate in study sessions before they vote on any item. So we work really hard at informing them at what they're about to vote on. And so we're going to start this evening with our Senior Executive Director of Academics, Teresa Salinas, who's going to do a presentation on the upcoming calendars, the academic calendars for our school district. Ms. Salinas?
Good evening, President Soto, school board members, Dr. Hernandez, Superintendent, Edgewood staff, and community. I'd like to start the presentation by first of all framing the conversation around some of the educational drivers that the District Education Improvement Council used to develop the academic calendars that we're bringing forth today for your approval. First and foremost, student achievement is at the heart of everything that we do, and we know that we improve student achievement by having quality teachers in the classroom. We also know that that means we need to have purposeful plans. We also need to ensure that we have quality resources. We have strong instructional leadership. We have quality professional development. and we have system alignment. Our LSD drivers around reading, mathematics, college career readiness are all important to the improvement of the calendar. We know that our system of great schools, our LSG goals, our workforce readiness goals are all aligned to our Vision 2025. It's important to note that the academic calendar that we're bringing today is a 2-year adoption, which is different from what we've done in the past. We did that very strategically to ensure that we could plan accordingly, not only for what our current needs will be moving into next year, but in anticipating and forecasting what future needs will be around all the work we are doing around innovation. Before I go into our intended learning outcomes, I do want to state that our school board is the only body that approves the academic calendar. Today we're going to, Today we're going to talk a little bit about the goals. I'll share with you the process that the committee went through. We'll see the timeline. We'll also go through a few data findings that the committee used. The committee worked over several different meetings to really look and analyze data around historical calendars in surrounding districts. And then we'll also discuss some of the highlights with regard to the new calendar that we're bringing for your adoption. So our District Education Improvement Committee is really a bunch of teachers from across all of our schools. 2/3 of the committee is teachers. We have parents, community members, administrators. They work to think through strategically some of the things that are happening. They're a conduit for change. We use them to collect feedback. And they also work to design some of the work around the calendar. And we spent several meetings. And so at this point in time, I'd like for our DEEC members to stand and be recognized for those that are here in the audience and able to make yet another evening session. Thank you very much. And a special acknowledgement to our parents that are here. So if I could have our parents wave and be recognized. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. We do have parent Representative Vanessa Dominguez here. We also have Jennifer Mata from Stafford. And we also have Elizabeth Vasquez Medellin from Wren Middle School. So this is a huge undertaking. We predominantly have focused over the first course of our meetings, specifically around instruction, innovation, and the development of this calendar. Because we engage in some tough conversations and really need to bring feedback or ask questions, we also engage in some team building activities that, help us get to know each other, kind of break the ice. We play hard and we work hard. So you see here our committee members kind of having small group instruction, getting to know each other, and then tackling the work around the calendar. We spent a lot of time really going through a calendar that we're bringing to you that we believe is going to meet the goals. And so I'll share some of these goals with you. The committee was charged with ensuring that we increase the number of instructional days for students. One of the things that we found when we analyzed all of our surrounding district counties, our surrounding district school districts, is that everyone else has about 175 up to 178, and we had 170 days in our instructional calendar. So we wanted to increase the number of instructional days for students, which increases the number of minutes. We also wanted to align planning time for teachers. We know that planning is really important to creating and developing quality lessons. And so we strategically placed those before our grading periods. And then we also wanted to improve organizational planning by bringing forward the adoption of the 2-year calendar. So here's a quick overview of the timeline. We brought the committee together in November. We talked about all the goals. We established the additional days that we would be meeting to work on these calendars. We developed a survey that the DEEC members went out to their campuses and kind of polled the teachers around what staff development needs are. We talked about previous survey data that we had. We looked at student attendance data. We looked at teacher attendance data. And then we looked and thought about what we currently knew that we would need to do regardless, and that's provide timely and relevant professional development. The last 2 years, the calendar that we brought forward had 17 professional development, campus work days, teacher time. And what we found is even though we embedded all of that time, right, teachers still needed professional development very strategically throughout the year. So we believe that this calendar provides that strategic planning time for teachers. Our calendars, both for 2021 and 21-22, have a total of 78,750 minutes. We have 187 contract days and the 175 student days. This does exceed the state standard. Some of the attendance data, just really an overview. What we found is over the last year, we had some holidays that were really before and after already holidays that we had put in place, like Christmas and Thanksgiving and all of that. And what we found was that our attendance rate for teachers was actually higher. So we really thought a lot about that. And we looked at and talked through student attendance, was student attendance the driver for putting these days in? And what we found was student attendance on these days was really not an issue. So the additional survey data that we looked at, aside from that, was the analysis, the professional development needs once again. And then after we developed these calendars, the committee originally had two calendar options, option A and option B. We sent those out to all of our staff members for voting, and the staff, on behalf of the staff here at Edgewood ISD, based on our survey results, we are recommending that you approve calendar option B. A couple of highlights regarding this calendar for this year or for 2020, 2021, and 21-22 are a start date of this year's August the 17th. We're ending before Memorial Day for students, and we have planning time strategically placed before each of our grading periods. So this is the calendar. Next steps, pending approval, will be to format, review, and publish our calendars for the next 2 years. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Do I have any questions?
Board members? Just for clarity for the board, can you tell us the difference, the primary difference between calendar A and calendar B?
Yes, sir. On calendar A, the planning days were on Fridays. We broke up into several groups and then regrouped. And so everyone, regardless of which group they started in, really felt that we needed to start in mid-August. And that really is because we wanted to ensure that our first semester ends before we break for Christmas. So the and we wanted to end before Memorial Day. So both calendars, option A or option B, had those two things in common. And then the big difference was really in planning. There was one group that wanted to have a planning day on Fridays, and then the overwhelming majority of the teachers that were polled and staff members voted for the planning days on Monday before the unit.
Board, I also want to remind you, a lot of consideration also went into, if you will recall, our trips that we made this last year with teachers, with principals around our innovation planning when we went to Dallas. For those of you that went to the Solar Prep School, those of you that went to El Paso when we went to the New Tech schools, I think those were the two of the major programs that we went to, and then invited teachers as well. And the recommendations we received from other colleagues, teachers, was make sure that in your calendars you are giving 1 day each grading period, so teachers have an opportunity to sit down, look at lessons, look at data, and they don't have to worry about other things that normally would be pulling them away from actually just sitting down and planning together. So a lot of that was taken into consideration, so that every grading period we have a day for teachers to do that. And so I want to just bring you back to that research. Again, I reiterate that, members of our community, because these decisions are not made on a whim, and they're made very gradually, and they're made also taking into consideration the 5-year plan. So nothing you hear today was not fully vetted and or discussed with the board.
Yes, ma'am.
One more question. The calendar for 21-22, it's not on as displayed. Oh, there it is. I apologize. Just wanted to make sure we had the we were coinciding with the day after.
Yes.
On that section. Okay.
Both years are just a mirror of each other. The 1 or 2 dates change.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Board members, any other questions? Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your time.
Board members, the next two presentations you're going to hear are from Leticia Rodriguez. Letty, if you'll make your way up. The first presentation is on our school improvement plans for L.B. Johnson, Perales Elementary, and Winston Elementary. These are required for us to develop by the state, and so we do those in advance of the school year. So I want to make sure that that is understood and that we reiterate that, because we are essentially preparing in case we have a campus that turns out to be an F campus. And so those are requirements that we have to adhere to from the state. And so Ms. Rodriguez is going to share the rest of this plan with you today.
Good evening, Board President Mr. Soto, Superintendent Dr. Hernandez, board members, and community members. Today I'll be sharing the development of our turnaround plans developed by our 3 campuses. Our intended learning outcomes for today are to review the Vision 2025, our superintendent goals, discuss the effective schools framework, and present the school improvement turnaround plans for L.B. Johnson, Perales, and Winston Elementary. And we are aligned with our Vision 2025 and our superintendent goals with the focus on student success. Our turnaround plans were created using the Effective Schools Framework. The Effective Schools Framework is rooted in the continuous improvement process. That is identifying campus needs, identifying performance gaps or gaps in systems, planning, and implementing and monitoring the plan. So the idea is to build capacity in schools, to develop effective systems centered around student outcomes. And I'll be sharing about the Effective Schools Framework and the 5 levers. You'll be hearing more about that and how our turnaround plans were developed. So again, 3 schools that developed these plans were Lyndon B. Johnson, Perales Elementary, and Winston. And again, the turnaround plans are surrounded about the Effective School Framework levers. And the schools are required by the Texas Education Agency to develop this plan because they're a Year 2 F campus. And so they are to develop this plan with an idea if they are identified a school of as F for Year 3, they have a plan in place. It is a 2-year rollout, and this is based on the 5 levers that I'm going to be sharing with you this evening. Those 5 levers include, so the plan is developed so that we can ensure that we have best practices in schools, and that begins with strong school leadership and planning. That is school leaders who are developing clear protocols, they are meeting as a campus leadership team, and that they are also having clear and defined roles, and that they are communicating as a team and making observations based on student progress and formative data. Lever 2 is effective, well-supported teachers. That is the recruitment, the selection, the assignment, the induction, and the retention of highly qualified educators. So that is having a clear criteria for hiring, alignment with the school's vision, mission, values, and goals. And also looking at teacher placements and being very strategic to ensuring that our teacher strengths are aligned with our student needs. Lever 3 is to ensure that we have a positive school culture in all schools. Again, bring an alignment in our vision, mission, goals, and values to provide a safe environment and to have high expectations. Campus practices and policies will demonstrate high expectations for all, and staff members will share a common understanding of the mission, the vision, and the value. Looking having at high quality curriculum, that is the ensuring that teachers are following the curriculum, that all assessments are aligned, and that we are following the scope and sequence with fidelity. So that is school leaders ensuring that the teachers are on the scope and sequence, that unit assessments are being administered, and that they are also developing action plans. And lever 5, that is the effective instruction. That is objective-driven daily lesson plans with formative assessments and data-driven instruction. That is all teachers creating and submitting daily lesson plans and having leaders provide these lesson plans and provide teachers feedback to ensure that they are on the scope and sequence, to ensure the level of rigor and that they are aligned with the standards, that they are having high quality questioning, and that teachers are also planning the corrective instruction for corrective instruction. So again, board members, we're asking for your approval of the turnaround plans that were submitted. Again, our intended learning outcomes were to review the Vision 2025 Superintendent Goals, discuss the Effective Schools Framework, and to present our turnaround plans for O.B. Johnson, Winston, and Perales Elementary.
Board members, do we have any questions? Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Don't run too fast, Ms. Rodriguez.
I'm
You
with
got
you.
another one. Board, our next presentation is going to be on Lone Star Governance for the month of February 2020. So, Ms. Rodriguez, you have the floor again.
Thank you, sir. This evening's intended learning outcomes include the reporting on kinder and first grade reading on or above grade level, second grade, the percentage of students reading on or above grade level, third grade, same criteria of reading on or above grade level, and also going to be reporting on the Constraint Progress Measure 2.1. That is the professional learning will not decrease from 53%. Looking at our kinder and first grade reading, our goal for this year is 59%. Currently, for the month of February 2020, we are reporting at 52%. So again, we have 52% of our kinder and first grade students who are on grade level or reading on grade level. Second grade, our goal for 2020 is to have 61% of our students to be reading on grade level. Currently, we are at 42%. Again, 42% of our second graders currently at this time are on or above grade level. Reporting on third grade reading, our goal for this year is 58%. Currently, we're reporting at 34%. That is 34% of our students who are reading on grade level at third grade. We do want to share some reinforcements. These are things that we feel that are going well, that are a positive thing going in our district for reading. We do have the balanced literacy time that is built into the schedule. That is 150 minutes that the students are receiving every single day, kinder to third grade. And the instructional materials are highly rigorous and aligned to the new ELR standards. And we do have leveled resources to help our students in small group instruction and through guided reading. We're still working through our refinements, that is providing daily reading response to intervention, which is very critical to monitor our student progress. And also, we need to ensure that all balanced literacy components are being implemented daily in all reading classrooms. And again, the continuation of ongoing professional learning. Our superintendent evaluation currently is we're still under monitoring status. The instructional literacy coaches will continue to provide training and program monitoring, and again, to continue to provide extensive support for students reading below grade level. Now reporting on a Constraint Progress Measure 2.1. That is that the superintendent will now allow professional learning will not decrease from 53%. Last year in June 2019, we reported at 88% of professional learning was aligned to Lone Star Governance. Currently, we are happy to report that we have 84% of our professional development that is aligned to LSG. Reinforcements. Academic departments have offered 245 LSG Student Outcome Go aligned professional learning out of 290 learning opportunities. There has been an increased effort to align district-wide campus department professional learning sessions to LSG Goals. Our refinement areas we are working to improve is to report professional learning sessions individually by LSG Go and to present professional learning sessions and evaluation data. Superintendent evaluation for our constraint 2.1 is to provide opportunities for quality district and campus LSG student outcome goal aligned professional development throughout the academic school year. So currently at proficient. This evening, our intended learning outcomes was to share out the current state of our reading in kindergarten first, second grade reading, third grade reading, and also sharing on professional learning. Questions?
Board members? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. Mr. Soto?
Board members will continue with the consent agenda items. Keep in mind that all items may be acted upon at the same time by the school board. Board members, do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items A through H as read.
Board members, do we have a second?
Second, Mr. President.
Board member Joseph Guerra moves. Board member Timothy Payne seconds. Do we have any discussion? If we have no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Agenda item 7, board members, is closed session. The time is now 7:08 p.m. and the board will adjourn into closed session to discuss agenda items 7A, 7B, 7C, and 7D pursuant to sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. The board is now in closed session. reconvened from closed session. The time is now 8:03 p.m., and the board will take appropriate action on items if necessary, as discussed in closed session. Board members, do we have a motion?
I motion to approve the administrator's recommendation for the renewal/non-renewal of contracts for the 2020-2021 school year.
Board members, do we have a second? Secretary Stella Camacho moves. Board member Marta Castilla seconds. Board members, do we have any discussion? We have no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.
No, you don't. You were supposed to add a little bit more.
Remember last week?
Frank, you need to show him how to do that gavel.
I know. You missed it. This was him last week.
Hey, sir.
He thought he was eating.